too.
Bitty bitty bomb bomb.
I'm good, bro.
Let's go ahead and commence recording. In our short history, for the first time, we're talking to a veteran that served more than one enlistment. Sergeant Henry Nevarez. Thank you for attending this podcast. I appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Great to have you, man. It's been a while that I haven't seen you.
With the exception of last week, and yeah, it's been some years that have passed.
That Marine Corps ball was awesome. It was kind of weird being one of the youngest Marines there.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, there was a few young ones, but I think we were a few of the youngest.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. What I loved about it was that you still see the traditions that go on. They had I really love the cake cutting ceremony where they have the youngest and the oldest Marine that take part in that cake cutting ceremony, and I just like that they use the veteran component. I was just thankful for that moment.
One thing I was excited about is the whole ceremony and everything kind of seemed like it was like yesterday that we were doing all that stuff, cake cutting ceremony, everything that goes along with it, even singing the Marine Corps hymn, Do I remember this? And then automatically it comes back to you and you start singing along and you're like, oh, yeah, I remember this. I remember the words. I remember singing this. I'm going to get louder.
I stood at the position of attention. I don't know about you all.
Yeah, I did
too, yeah.
I didn't want to get yelled at.
I know, right?
By that gunny that had the opportunity to have all those people
women
sit on his face. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Gunny was pretty excited.
Fucking gunnies.
All right, so Nevarez, I like to do this to our guests. Throw a pop quiz at you for Marine Corps history. Mm-hmm. So I have a sample question along with 3
options.
Not with 3 options.
Better be a multiple choice.
I think they're pretty easy. So I don't think we'll need multiple choice this time. I gave Sam, when we did our unofficial podcast with him, a multiple choice.
Mm-hmm. You think I got this?
I think you got this, dude. You've been a little bit longer than us, just a tad bit. So, all right, man. So we're going to give you a sample question. All right. You don't have it with you because I didn't want you to have any answers. What foot do you step off?
Left foot, man.
Oh,
strong
shit,
foot.
you finished. Okay, but hey, man, that's cool. Hey, you got it right. You see, man, you got this. Yeah, you got this in the bag, dude.
Don't test me, bro.
All right. Okay, so we're going to start with the first question. Okay.
Wait, that was the first question.
No, that was your sample.
Oh,
that was your sample.
What the hell? Give me that one right, at least.
Well, you did get it correct.
All right, next question.
First question. What is immediate action for a weapon jam?
Tap, rack, bang.
Bingo.
Tap, rack, bang, buddy.
Bingo. All right.
Yes, sir.
Question number 2. What is a Marine officer sword called?
The NCO sword, isn't it?
It has another name. I'm going to give you a hint. It starts with an M.
M? Well, I did get half of it right, though, right?
Yes,
isn't
you
it?
did.
NCO sword? Shoot, I'm going to tap out on that one.
Let me see. Mameluke sword?
No, fucker, you got the fucking answers.
Oh, man.
We could cuss on this podcast.
Okay,
so.
I'm not going to lie.
No, I really didn't have them, but I do remember that.
I'm not going to lie. That was on the tip of my tongue, but I didn't know how to pronounce Mameluke.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's a Mameluke sword.
All right.
Question 3. Who was the first Marine commandant?
The only commandant that I remember that was hardcore was Krulak, and that's what I'm just going to say. That dude was hardcore.
Yeah. That was Sam's go-to when I threw the pop quiz at him as well.
No T-shirt, no skivvy shirt. Yeah, that dude was hardcore.
All right, so he was Captain Samuel Nicholas.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to give you a bonus question.
I probably wouldn't have got that one. So.
Bonus question. Mm-hmm. All right, there's 3 types of flags. What are they?
Garrison, standard, and all weather. Is it all weather?
I'll take it. Post, storm, and garrison.
Okay.
Not too bad. You did 2 out of 2 because you got the bonus question.
Not bad.
Well, you actually got 3 out of 2 because you got that sample.
That first one, that sample one was like even before you finished. So that was.
I know. I was like, shit. He has this in the bag.
I'm hardcore.
All right. So now we got the pop quiz out of the way. We're gonna start with the before the Corps. Who was Henry Nevarez before the Marine Corps? What was your childhood like?
Man, childhood before the Marine Corps. Let's see. I grew up with a pretty decent-sized family. 2 brothers, 2 sisters. I had a half-sister, so 3 boys, 3 girls pretty much. My half-sister didn't really live with us. She just kind of came on visits. For the most part, my sisters and my brothers, we grew up in a pretty small house, a 2-bedroom house. I remember us sleeping on bunk beds. My sisters on one side had their own beds. My brothers and I on the other side, my little brother and I would have to sleep in the same bed, one facing one way and the other one's feet in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that at that time you were probably considered poor to a lot of people, right? But at the time I didn't consider myself poor because everybody else pretty much kind of lived the same way that we did. We were kind of all in the same boat. We didn't really feel like we were struggling because we were pretty happy kids, you know?
That's all that matters. Is that you were
Yeah,
happy.
pretty happy kids. I had two parents that just busted their ass, you know, to work and provide. We weren't really given anything, so we didn't really understand what it was to have luxuries. I never had a problem with us and how we lived growing up until people would mention it and say, hey, this is where you guys live? Oh man, you know, like how many rooms you guys have, you know, how many bathrooms you have? And I still didn't see a problem with it, honestly, until I got older and people would mention that, dang man, you pretty much grew up poor, you know? I didn't think that I grew up poor. I was a pretty happy kid because my brothers and my sisters, we all got along and we were all like pretty active doing something. We grew up in a recreation center down the street from our house. My grandmother lived right across the street, so it was pretty easy. It was convenient for us have somewhere to go if we needed to eat or to rest from the rec center, because my mom would drop us off at the recreation center first thing early in the morning because she had to go to work.
And did you mention earlier? I'm sorry if you didn't.
That's all right.
Or if you did already. Did you mention where you grew up?
I grew up in Ontario, California.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad would work early in the morning. He worked for the city of Ontario. He did concrete. He did a bunch of. My dad was a pretty handyman. He did a lot of jobs with the city for the most part. You know, what I remember about my dad was doing concrete at the time when I was younger.
He was a cement finisher?
Cement, yeah, he was doing all that stuff.
Too.
Yeah, he was doing that
cool.
stuff. My mom worked for the school. She worked for Montclair Unified Schools District as a special eds teacher. She still subs now.
Oh, really?
She's still pretty active, yeah. She's retired. She still subs, but for the most part, she was a special education teacher. So that's where we would go, you know. Mom would drop us off at the rec center. We would pretty much spend all day there. That's kind of where we learned majority of what we know. You know, sports, competition. We would go camping, you know, fishing, learn how to play pool, everything. That's where we learned how to do majority of our stuff. With, you know, ultimately we had a mentor by the name of Johnny. He was the recreation coordinator who was in charge of the whole recreation department. Well, that center, it was different because, you know, growing up in the 90s, it was a little segregated as far as color. Browns here, blacks over here, not so much whites in the neighborhood. Browns and blacks kind of separated. And so it was a little different for him because he was black and he was in charge and he was in the neighborhood. Gangs were high at the time. And to have someone who was African American in your neighborhood was like it was a little thrown off, right? But
yeah.
Dude's such a wonderful guy, man. He gained a lot of respect from the whole neighborhood, just pushing to help kids be better, grow up to have some sort of goals, you know, pushing us and stuff like that. He's a well-respected man who I still keep in contact to this day. I was
about to ask you if you keep in contact with him.
I work out with him throughout the week still to this day. Before I go to work, I still work out with him. Yeah, he's one of those guys that's he's a real good friend of the family now. He's always been a good friend of the families, and he's been there a lot for my family and I. So we appreciate him a lot. He's done a lot for us and the community. So we did grow up in the rec center pretty much every day, you know, going there. Even after school, we would go there, do our homework and stuff like that. My dad would pick us up and take us home after he got off of work, since he worked right down the street from the rec center. My mom at the time too, I remember she would have like 2 jobs, you know. She would have a regular job during the day, and then when we were asleep, everyone was asleep, she would go work at a meat market, just cutting meat, you know, packing meat away, stuff like that. I remember like super early in the morning, she would come home and we would be up. My older brother and I would be up 3, 4 in the morning watching her come home. So, you know, I think opened my eyes a lot about the hustle and excuses to not have them, because I've seen what my parents were capable of doing to provide for their kids, which is a huge reason why I am the way that I am to this day too, with my kids and what I got to do to provide. You know, I think it's first nature anyways with men in general. They're going to do what they need to do to provide. Correct. You know? Yeah. It doesn't really matter. It's in our nature. It's what we do.
We're providers.
We're providers, yeah, and protectors, you know, as men.
Yeah.
But I'm focused a lot on that part of my childhood and growing up and what kind of kid I was, because I really think that it has a huge impact on who I am today, because of I understand and I see things and I remember them like they were just yesterday. So like watching my mom grind, right? Watching my dad grind, watching us where we came up from and like how we grew up, growing up in a 2-bedroom house with 8 of us in there, you know, going on to like our next house that we moved into, which was like a 3-bedroom house. And we thought we were living life, you know, after we moved into a 3-bedroom house.
Right.
We thought we made it, bro. We were like, we're moving up, you know, we're doing great. So I don't really take much for granted. And it's part of the reason why I push so much every day, because I do know where things have been, and I know where I'm at now and what it took to get there.
You remember where you came from.
I do. And, you know, people say that all the time, but do they really live it, and do they really apply it to their everyday life, you know?
Do you find yourself, aside from just remembering those struggling moments, I guess, like you said, growing up, you didn't really notice that you were in that component of being, I guess, poor, right? Well, be considered poor. But in essence, you were rich because you had everything that you needed.
Right.
You had your family. You had the provisions that needed to be provided to you. My question is like, looking at how your parents provided and they struggled and did the things that they needed to do to provide, did it develop the character? Did it help motivate you, or did it form you to join the Marine Corps? Or was that another experience in itself?
No, I think wanting to join the Marine Corps was like something that I always wanted to do based off like commercials I would see recruiters, right? I remember I was probably, I want to say like maybe 5th or 6th grade. It wasn't until the 7th grade ultimately where I decided like, I want to do that. You know,
Really? So that far, or that
far
early on?
ahead, because I remember like no one ever talking about the Marines ever. I do remember there was a guy who grew up in the neighborhood who went to the rec center that I went to, and he had joined the Army. I remember him coming back, and I'm like, oh dang, that's pretty cool.
You saw him in uniform.
Saw him in uniform. He was in his camis. Yeah, I saw him in his uniform. He came by after he graduated. You know, this was a guy who grew up in the neighborhood. He was part of the gangs. Decided to change his lifestyle and join the Army, you know. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, he was never involved in like anything illegal, so he was able to join, you know. But to come back and see him in his uniform, it was like, oh dang, that looks pretty cool, man. Like, what do you do there, you know? You get to shoot guns, you know. And he's older. He's a 18-year-old, right? He graduated. I'd probably say I'm maybe 10, 11, maybe, I want to say.
You were young.
I was young, yeah. I just remember everyone always talking about the Army, right? I rarely remember anyone ever mentioning the Marine Corps. So I was intrigued even more on what's the Marines, because I never heard anybody talk about it. And I guess the Marine Corps was considered hard to get in just as much as it is now, as far as like challenges, right? So for me, it started to, I was just more curious on like, well, why do people say that the Marine Corps is harder? Mm-hmm. What's so much harder about it? Just start looking into it. You see a commercial pop up here, you know, like Marine Corps commercials weren't huge back then. It was all Army. You see one Marine Corps commercial, oh, dang, I saw a Marine Corps commercial. That looks pretty cool, you know?
Yeah.
They were different.
You see Heartbreak Ridge come out, you know, or like,
that's my favorite movie.
You see that movie come and you're like, that's what the Marines is about? Oh man, what's so much different than the Army? Oh, that looks harder.
Yeah.
And that's when my light bulb like kind of clicked. It's like, that looks harder? I want to do that shit then. I don't want to do no easy thing, you know? Like, I've always been the type of guy to challenge myself, and I've always been like, I want whatever the hardest thing there is for me to do, I want to do it. I don't care what it is. Like, I don't want no easy shit, you know? I want to do the hard stuff. Yeah, that was like, my light bulb just went on, like, and then you get older, you start hearing more about the Marine Corps because you start asking more questions. Oh yeah, boot camp's tough. You know, this is what they do. Man, they freaking do this and this, that, and that. Man, I want to do that. I want to do that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to take no easy road. I want the hard road. I want to do that. I remember telling my mom about it too, like 7th, 8th grade. Oh, I want to join the Marines when I get older. And it's stuck ever since through high school.
Did you have any other family members that have joined the military before that? Or?
No other family, and I think that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to do it, because nobody else had did it.
You were going to be the first.
So I was like, I want to be the first one to go, even though I wasn't. My older brother was.
That's
right. And I think my idea of wanting to join the Marine Corps and like projecting it to my mom so much kind of gave my mom a little bit of a push to push my brother to go, because my brother never mentioned anything about going to the Marines until he got to like senior year. Mm-hmm. It was one of those things where he just didn't know what he wanted to do when he got out of high school. Like, he didn't know what he wanted to do. He didn't want to go to school. And my mom was so hardcore, like, you're going to do something. I don't give a shit what it is, but but you're not going to sit around home and not do anything. Yeah, so, oh, fuck it, then I'll just go to the Marines. My brother's kind of a nonchalant guy. He's like, whatever, I'll go.
So you knew before your brother?
Yeah,
long before your brother.
Yeah, I knew long before my brother I wanted to go.
Wow.
I had always mentioned this to my mom, like, I either wanted to be a chef or I wanted to join the Marines. That was one of the things I always wanted to do.
Really?
In your high school, like, which high school did you go to?
I went to Ontario High.
So did they offer like any kind of opportunity, like ROTC program or?
No, they didn't have ROTC at the time at my high school. We didn't really have anything like military at our school. I mean, the only thing that we had that would give me structure, honestly, was like sports. I played baseball, I played football, and we had a weightlifting class called Raised Power Pit. Those alone was like, they contribute to competitiveness.
What year did you graduate from high school?
I graduated in 1999.
1999. And by then, I know at some point we all go through some sort of process, right? Mm-hmm. What your senior, I guess throughout high school, your mindset was I already want to do this. I want to join the military.
Yep.
Senior year came. When did that process start when you decided to join the?
Well, we could back up a little bit.
Okay.
I struggled in high school.
Okay.
And my whole freshman year, I can pretty much say, I'm embarrassed to say it, but I failed like pretty much a whole year of school with the exception of PE and maybe like one elective. So I failed math. I failed a whole year of math. I failed a whole year of English. I failed the other required classes you're supposed to take the whole year. I was kind of a badass, man. Like I don't know where it came from, but I do remember that my counselor had said, hey, well, what's your goals, when you graduate? And I said, I want to join the Marines. And he's Mr. Pound. I remember the counselor's name was Mr. Pound. He's like, well, you're not going anywhere if you can't get your grades up. You're not going to graduate. He said, listen, you've already failed a whole year of freshman year. You're going to be in summer school probably for the rest of your high school years. You got to make up your classes this next summer. And then the following summer, you got to make up another half semester or trimester or whatever it's called of classes. So you're already going to be in summer school after your freshman year and your sophomore year. Now, let's hope you don't fail any classes because you're going to be in summer school again your junior year. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of making up to do. I think I ended up failing like history again. So I was in summer school pretty much my whole high school.
Every
summer. I was taking some classes, and I had this, man, I got into it with this one teacher, this English teacher. Her name was Dr. Leonard. We started going at it from the beginning because I called her Miss Leonard. I didn't call her doctor, right? So she got offended. She said, you're going to listen to me, little kid. Like, you're going to call me doctor? And I said, I ain't going to call you shit. And I threw a desk.
Wow.
So, long story short, they kicked me out of that class. They switched me classes. Well, sophomore year comes around, and guess who my English teacher is?
Dr. Leonard.
Dr. Leonard. So, the first thing that she does is she sees me. I walk in the classroom. Her eyes get huge. They're humongous. And she's like, oh my, I can see her lips go, oh my gosh. So then she walks to the front of the door, and I see her like catch a moment and she catches her breath. She takes a big breath and she goes, and she's like, can I talk to you outside? And I said, for what? I already got an attitude, And she's like, look, I don't want to start the school year off like this. I want to try to make things different. Can we just talk outside? And she came at me completely different. Look, I know you're a good kid. I know you're going to do well. I want to help you. I want you to pass my classes. Like, she was giving some surprising support.
She's giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt. And that like completely changed everything. Funny thing is after that sophomore year, I got most improved student out of the whole high school. I want to say like out of 1,500 kids.
Amazing.
I went from like a 1.5 GPA to like a 3.8 or 3.9 after that school year.
And this was your senior year?
That was my sophomore year. But ultimately that was that started like my push and my drive to be like, hey, I can pass these classes. I'm going to have to pass these classes if I want to go into the Marines. And that's where things changed. I got that award. It was like the second year they had that award. One of my other buddies got the award before me. And that ultimately had led like my mentality change to want to be better and just like get good grades. You're a smart kid. You're just being lazy. You can do this. You're going to have to graduate. You're going to have to pass these classes to go into the Marine Corps. You got to take the ASVAB, you know? Yeah, that's where it went from there.
I just want to add, like, I remember, like, in the 90s, you would always hear things on the news like, oh, in Ontario, this happened today. Ontario was rough.
Yeah, Ontario was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad at one point.
Yeah.
It's improved since. But, you know, growing up in the 90s, I could remember just hearing a lot of negative things about Ontario.
Yeah, gangs were bad in Ontario. Mm-hmm. You know, not too many people realize that because they hear Ontario, they think Canada, you know? and Ontario is not really considered like an LA County or like a San Bernardino County thing. It's just Ontario.
It's right there in the middle.
It's like right smack dead in the middle. Yeah.
The only thing I knew about Ontario was that there was an Ontario Mall that was
there's Ontario Mills.
Yeah, the Mills, that was just the hugest thing that was there. And they had a GameWorks that you get to play video games, and there was like these amazing video games that were in there.
It's a Dave & Buster's now, right?
Yeah, right. I think so.
No, it's not. It's the GameWorks is no longer there. They have Dave & Buster's there, but I think it's like a Under Armour now. It's not even a GameWorks.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's as much as I knew about, you know, basically Ontario. Aside from everything, all the negative stuff that would go on, that you would hear on the news constantly, it was tough.
Yeah.
So, wow. Going back to where you were. Leading into
sophomore year,
mm-hmm. Leading into eventually wanting to join the Marine Corps. I guess at some point we all become a poolee. You know, do you remember the date you enlisted?
I don't remember the date I enlisted because I was in the DEP program for like a year prior before I even left. So I think I had finished junior year leading into my senior year. And I was in the DEP program like a year prior before I left. So I was one of those guys. And it was a little different for me. So I didn't like even take the bus ride, honestly, like everybody else. So I came from the recruiting station out of Upland, right? Upland's the next city over from Ontario. And my recruiter legit dropped me off at boot camp.
What?
So he picked me up early in the morning, took me to MEPS. And I remember, like, after MEPS, you know, you stay in the hotel or whatever, right, after you're done.
At the Bonaventure.
Yeah, whatever that place was called. But I remember my recruiter actually taking me. We were there so early, like, I was sitting in the receiving room on the floor for, like, hours before anybody even showed up.
Oh, my God.
So when I got there, I was like, it was me and I think one other recruit from another recruiting station. I don't remember where he was from. I remember we were sitting there and the drill instructors would come in. They'd be like, what the fuck are you doing on my quarter? What are you doing on my deck? And we would have to get up and tell them, we're here for boot camp. And they would just come back and look at us and just leave us there. And we were sitting there for like, I want to say at least 3 hours.
Wow.
And then I remember when the bus showed up, it finally showed up, they said, get the fuck outside right now. So then we had to go stand on the yellow footprints. But I wasn't part of like getting off the bus and getting yelled at.
Wow. And was there a particular reason why the recruiter drove you down?
I have no idea.
Wow.
Honestly, I don't know. But the same thing I want to say happened to my brother too.
Really?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't even know if there's like a legit place that Upland goes to even like be a part of the legit process, right? I think that's why that happened because Upland was such a small substation of recruiters.
It was still new too.
It was very new.
Yeah.
Actually, it was very new.
Yeah, it was still a booming economy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And so like he drove me down in his Govy and like dropped me off. He said,
wow.
"Hey,
that's hilarious.
Who are you? Oh, this recruit's coming. I mean, he's coming for recruit training. Oh yeah, just take this gate, go pull over here."
He probably figures, you know what? It's just a straight way down to 15.
Well, I was like,
yeah,
well, that too, yeah. And I was like, where do I go from here? He's like, yeah, just go in that building right there. And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't even know where I'm supposed to go, bro. Like, what the hell? You just like leaving me hanging. And he took off. He's gone.
Oh my God.
You're on your own.
He left you in the dust.
I was like, all right, I guess I'm just. So then one of the drill instructors when you go into receiving are a little different. They're hostile, but they're not as hostile, like as an actual drill instructor.
Yeah.
So they were asking me questions. Yeah, where are you coming from? Who are you? And I'm like, I'm here for boot camp. What's your receiving date? Whatever. I told them September. Have a seat. Just wait until somebody comes to get you. And nobody came to get us for like 3 hours, bro.
If you don't mind me going back a little bit.
No, it's okay.
What was the debt process like? Because you said you were in the debt process for a year straight, right?
Really quick, can I go back a little further? Really quick, when you already decided to join, Do you remember your parents' idea, like their like, all right?
How'd they feel about it?
How did they feel about
I
it? There we
think
go.
my brother took that whole mojo away from my parents because he was first to go.
So they were kind of callous to it.
Yeah, I remember like my brother's graduation, and I was just fucking blown away. I was like, I want to do this now. Like, this is what I want to do. I was so impressed. I was like, and obviously my parents and my grandparents and my uncle, everybody went, you know. So it's like my brother got the first taste of that gusto, you know, to experience that. And that's why family members like my uncle went. I'm like, this motherfucker didn't come for me, you know. He didn't go to my shit. But I'm not even mad about that. But what I'm saying is, like, my brother got all the glory, you know, for being the very first one.
Well, for the sake of camaraderie, mention your brother's name and his rank.
Oh, my brother, Eddie.
Eddie?
Yeah,
and
Eddie.
What did he?
Yeah.
And
he got out as a sergeant.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know.
He discharged from Okinawa.
What was his MOS?
He was a 03. He was a grunt.
Oh, grunt. Okay.
And at one point, it's funny, he actually was staying in my room when we were 5th Marines. He was actually staying in my barracks room for like, I want to say like 2 months because he was processing out.
Yeah.
So we stayed together, and I was like getting up. I was still doing my 4:30 in the morning thing. I'm like, get your ass up, man. Let's go to the gym or something. He's like, man, I ain't going nowhere. I'm getting out.
He's like, I'm precept.
I'm done. I'm out. So that was pretty funny.
I want to add at one given point, you know, I had the opportunity of being the roommate of good old Nevarez here, you know, and this guy did help motivate with the process to let me know what working out really was about. And since then, so, you know, I was thankful for that. I remember one time there was Nahara was walking in, and I was already working out with you in the gym at early morning and in the afternoon and the evening, and then going to play basketball and doing all that other stuff we were doing. And I remember I was shirtless, and he was like, damn, you could see that your chest is changing a little bit. It looks good. And I'm like, I felt good. I was like, oh, I could see it. I guess people are noticing, so it's sort of exciting.
Well, under all that hair. You know?
Right. That's right. Yeah, under the hair.
Damn Sasquatch.
Yeah. No, but other than that, you know, I was really looking forward to having this moment. I didn't think it would come so soon, where we could, you know, just be here and be able to hear your story and share, you know, be able to share certain things that took place. But we'll get there. And going along with everything else, I know we've talked about, you know, you joining in, you know, the process a year before you actually went out. You had the opportunity of being chauffeured in by your recruiter, you know, and waiting in for everyone.
VIP treatment.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, that was a little weird. You should question the government for that. No, I'm kidding. Why did he take us alone to
Like a 45-minute trip and shit?
I only heard that story with recruits that came out of Upland. Honestly, I wasn't the only one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've heard that from other recruits that came out of Upland, because I know 2 buddies of mine who I had got into I recruited them, so they came in on the buddy program, and one of their things was. I remember I was already in for a month, right? I was already in boot camp for a month. Mm-hmm. I see these guys walk on the actual in the chow hall, and they're in their civvies. Everybody else is in camis except for them. They're walking around in civvies. So I see them at the bread area, and I'm like, hey man, what are you guys doing here? He's like, fuck man, I don't know. They just dropped us off at the front. You know? And it's the same story that I had, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, here, don't do this. Well, here's what's going to happen. Like, they just sent us here to come get something to eat, and then we got to go back. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, like, you guys aren't going to see anybody till, like, 8 o'clock. And we're whispering, you know, because you can't talk.
The way you're mimicking it, I could totally see it in the freaking chow hall.
Hey, man, so, like, don't do this, bro. Like, you're going to have to go back, and then they're gonna give you this blue bag. You put all your shit in it, and, like, but just hurry up, you know, like, don't be the last one. Like, so I'm trying to explain to them, like, you know, what's
that's cool. You gave them a heads up.
Yeah, and so those 2 buddies, they serve. I serve. I grew up with them, same age, went to the same high school, everything.
Were those the 2 gents that showed up last week?
No.
Okay.
I went to boot camp with both those guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
Both those guys I went to boot camp with, Lemke and Yaban.
Okay.
Yeah, good guys.
Yeah, they were great guys.
They're solid guys, man.
Yeah, they're really cool.
So, you know, finally leading up to your dream coming true of joining Marine Corps and being there, standing on those yellow footprints, you're received by those receiving instructors. It's a great experience. I know we all went through it at some given point. You're finally there. What's going through your mind?
I knew and I had an idea already that it wasn't going to bother me as much as people had explained to me about boot camp. I've heard a lot of stories like before I had even went, how hard it is, including for my brother, you know, mentally, physically, everything. I wasn't like this hardcore ass guy where I was like, I'm going to completely dominate this, you know, and it's going to be easy for me. I wasn't that guy. I wasn't cocky like that. But I was looking forward to like a challenge. And I was already like open-minded because it's something I wanted to do. So when you want to do something, your idea, your mentality, everything towards it's going to be different. You're going to want to push harder.
You're going to be laser focused.
Exactly. And you're going to want to put forth 100% effort because it's like, I want to be here. It's not something I'm being forced to do. Rather than somebody who's being forced to do it, they're going to be like, I don't want to do this shit. This sucks. Why do I got to do this? They're going to complain. They're going to have an excuse for everything.
Yeah.
And me, I was looking forward to it. The moment that they said, hey, we're taking an initial PFT, I'm like, I'm fucking going to murder this 3 mile run, because I knew already that's what I wanted to do. Like, I'm going to kill this 3 mile run. I'm going to run as fast as I can. I'm going to be in the top 3, top 5, whatever. It didn't matter. But I was going to be that guy, I didn't have anything to prove to anybody but myself that I was not going to be last and that I was going to try my hardest. That's it. And, some people tend to think that it's I don't even know how to word this correctly without saying it's offensive towards me or anyone else, but
fuck it, say it.
I mean, I honestly, I try and I push as much as I can because that's what I want to do. I'm not trying to show anybody else up, and I'm not trying to be better than anybody else.
You're doing it for you.
The only person I'm trying to be better than is me, and that's it. So, the challenges that I faced in the Marine Corps when it came to physical fitness or anything else, even mental, I was the one that was like, fuck it, I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
If I'm going to get the highest PFT in here, that means I got to run at least a 17-minute 3 mile. I'm going to get it. I don't care. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I did, our buddies, the buddies that you guys met last week, they make fun and they talk shit, but they're like, damn, motherfucker, you were fast, dude. And then I told Lemke, dude, you don't remember? I graduated with the highest PFT in our platoon.
Wow.
And he's like, dude, I remember. I was like, well, yeah, because you were the second or third behind me.
Wow.
And I said, well, what'd you run? And he said he ran a 18-minute something, right? And I was like, well, yeah, I ran a 17 something. And that's how I got the highest PFT. I ran a 17, 30 something 3 mile,
And the perfect score was what, 18 minutes?
Oh yeah, perfect score is 18. So I got a 300, 300 PFT in boot camp.
Wow.
And like I said, I wasn't trying to show anybody up. I was focused on me, I wanted to do as best as I could, and that's what I was gonna do, And it was a little different for me because I felt like I needed to be this guy because I was probably one of the shortest ones in the platoon, probably the lightest ones in the platoon. I was a double rat, I weighed 95 pounds. I had something to prove to myself,
yes,
not anybody else.
Yeah.
And of course, at the end, it's damn, this dude's fast. Damn, this dude's strong.
I always thought you were 6'6" with a 12-inch cock.
That too, bro.
So, that's what I thought.
Looks can be deceiving, bro.
What was the DEP-in process like for you? You did mention that you DEP'd in a year, 12 months prior,
right,
to actually reporting to boot camp.
So I did DEP in a year prior. Obviously, I had to get permission from my parents to sign the documentation for me to go. But after my brother had went or signed up already, that was a no-brainer.
Check.
You ain't gotta ask me. They're like, just fucking take them, And that was my impression of my mom's voice because my mom was like, yeah, just go, whatever. So I DEP'd into a year prior to my departure. Honestly, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary for me as far as routine. I was already involved in sports. I was already playing baseball. I was already playing football. I was a very active kid. I always played sports. If you saw me growing up or the kids around us, we always had a ball in our hand. We always were doing something every day. It didn't matter. We lived across the street from a elementary school. Obviously the big old space that it had. We would get up first thing in the morning, and the first thing that we would do at 8 o'clock in the morning after we were done cutting the grass, my dad made us, we would go across the street and just play football, baseball. It didn't matter what it was. We were always doing something. So being active wasn't, it
wasn't brand new to you.
It wasn't new to me. It was like first nature to me. It's all I did was stay active with my friends and my family or my brothers. So preparing for like Marine Corps boot camp wasn't really new to me as far as training. So I had already learned training from my mentor at the recreation center. I was already involved in a weight training class in high school called Race Power Pit. And then on top of just being active running, that's football, baseball, stuff like that. The only thing that I was not prepared for, since I have never ran track or I never ran anything longer than like 3 miles consistently, was the breathing, the pace, and everything else that came with running. Like all that stuff was brand new to me when I got there. So all I knew when I was training or trying to prepare was that run as fast as you can. That's it. But obviously you're gonna gas eventually, right?
Yeah.
So that was all new to me. I didn't know that. I knew I could run a mile in like 5 minutes and something. I don't have a specific seconds, but I knew for sure I was in the 5 minute area.
Dang.
That's fast.
I was flying. Well, I only weighed like 95 pounds at the time.
Rabbits.
So I was like, I was flying. I look now and I'm like, how the hell did I run a 17-minute 3 mile compared to now? Now I actually feel like I'm pushing. I push. I feel like I'm pushing, or I'm trying to go faster as much as I can, and I can get still like a 20-minute 3 mile.
Wow.
To this day.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, to this day I can still run a 20-minute 3 mile. It won't be 18, like I would like a 18, but
But that's okay, because remember, as you age, it would change as you
age. You're gonna be in a different group. The older you get.
It's okay. You're right. Yeah.
But I still have these goals set. These are still goals of mine that even though I'm 42 years old, even though I see it's a long reach for me to get an 18 mile, I still push and I train like I'm going to get there, regardless of whether I get it or not. So, And that's one of those things that keeps me going, In the DEP program, you show up to these workouts, they don't really like teach you how to set a pace or breathe, It's not like, hey guys, when you hit your first mile, you're going to be a little winded, take a breather back, slow your pace down, breathe a certain way, breathe in your nose, out through your mouth, stuff. They don't teach you that stuff. They're just like, hey guys, here's the turnaround point. Here's where we're going, come back, done. And like I said before, all I knew was that just run as fast as you can. Just don't be the last one.
Yeah.
Which I was always trying to be the first one anyways. That was really like the training for me when it came to the DEP program, was just, I was really good at running and I had zero experience as far as track.
So the 12 months, you were just consistent, just with running
all the time,
push-ups.
So you showed me these things, these tools that I need to have on my belt to prepare myself for Marine Corps boot camp. And I already have specific tools on my belt as far as physical training and exercising. Now I'm adding these other things to my belt, which ultimately like pushes me and drives, gives me that drive to run faster, to be stronger. I remember I got yelled at in boot camp for doing like 40 pull-ups. Why didn't you do more? What are you doing dropping? I'm like, mother effer, I did 40 pull-ups. Like, how much more do you want me to do? But
one for the core.
41
for the core.
I'm telling you. And I did do like around almost 40 pull-ups. Wow. I remember I did like almost that much, and then I ran like the initial PFT when we first got there. I didn't run a 17-minute. I ran like an 18:05, I think.
You were probably pissed off at yourself, huh?
No, I wasn't, because I didn't understand the point structure. All I knew was
really, they didn't explain that to you.
No, I didn't. I was nervous. I understood the point structure. Let me rephrase that. I didn't understand. When I say I didn't understand the point structure, I was like nervous at the time, because now there's like 300 Marine or recruits all on the same, deck having to run this initial PFT. Because it's not like we were just running it by platoons, right? We were running like all the recruits together here. So now there's like 200, 300 recruits all running this initial PFT at the same time. And I'm like, damn, well, how fast do I run? Do I keep running faster? Do I slow down? Where do I keep my pace? I'm like having all these ideas in my head, right? Like on how I'm supposed to run this. Compared to like the actual PFT, I don't give a shit who's in my way. I'm just running. All I need to know is that I need to be the first one. That's it. That was part of my push, in and out of the DEP in the DEP program, out of the DEP program into boot camp. I was always like running on my own too. Since we had that school across the street that I mentioned, I would go across the street. I would run. I wouldn't have an idea like how much I needed to push, but I just know I needed to run. That's it. So running was like a thing for me. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it, and I didn't love it either though. But I knew I was good at it because I was just light. I was small and I was fast.
And did they have you when you were tapping in? Did they have you attend any kind of functions?
Yeah, we did the functions. I think it was like every week, the weekend things. We would have like the classes too, the meetups, or like we would even go to like the high schools and stuff to help out with certain activities. I remember those kind of things. I do remember like we would even have classes on the weekends that would it would get all the pulleys together to learn like their general orders and stuff like that. That was huge. It was like they would not let us do anything without knowing our general orders.
Do you remember your first general order?
I do not. To walk this post in a military manner, I don't know.
Close. To take charge of this post.
To take charge of this
and
post,
all
yeah.
government property, right? Or,
That wasn't part of the quiz, but yeah, I believe
guess,
so.
yeah.
So I think we covered the pulley process then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
He was pulled.
he was pulled.
No. In regards to MOS, how did you decide on your MOS, and what was that when you first enlisted?
I didn't decide on anything. The Marine Corps did.
Oh,
So you went in open contract.
I went in open contract.
No shit. Okay,
So I was
Sam.
like-
Sam went in his open contract too.
Yeah, so I was that guy in boot camp that was like, all right, I need this MOS over here, whatever, O3s over here, whatever, O1s over here, whatever. Where are my fucking know-it-alls? Who are the know-it-alls? The ones that don't know shit. Everyone else over here, you're open contract. Where's my open contracts? I used to get yelled at a lot because I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I didn't know. Okay, I know I'm open contract, but like, why are we different? And then it came to be about that like open contracts don't really look like shit. Like you're considered like the whatever's in there because they're like whoever's open contract over here, everyone else over here.
You're too good for everything else. You're just
Pretty
waiting for
much.
them to decide when you'll accelerate
And
or
that's
excel
kinda-
in everything that you do.
That's kind of where I was at joining though. Like I didn't give a shit what job you gave me. All I know is that I didn't want to be a cook. That's it. Don't give me a cook job. Give me anything else. I don't care. But all I know is I just want to join.
But you wanted to be a cook in the civilian world.
Yeah, I did. But like I would hear stories about cooks in the military. So of course I'm like, I'm not trying to be a cook.
Wake up at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
No.
not even that. I heard worse than like
Yeah, I
a
heard
cook.
midnight
I'm
and
like,
shit,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to be a cook in the military.
They gotta scrub everything.
Fucking vampire recruits.
Yeah. You So when did you hear about your MOS?
You don't hear about your MOS until you graduate, I think. Like close to graduation day, they're like, okay, well, here's your job. Here's where you're going to school after. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's cool. I don't know. I already chose my MOS by the time I.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
okay. So you guys already knew your job. So mine, yeah. I want to say if it's not graduation day, it's when you check into SOI. Mm-hmm. I want to say.
So after you graduate or when you check in, this is going to be your job and.
Yeah, so you get to, like I said, it's either after you graduate from boot camp, they give you your MOS, they tell you, and then you're going to SOI, or it's when you check into SOI and then they give you your job. It's one or the other. I can't really remember.
So the fact that you didn't stay for the long term, School of Infantry versus the short term.
MCT.
And
Oh, that's true.
that decide.
Yeah, that's true.
You already knew sort of like, okay.
Yeah, so I had to have known then. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember, I'm pretty sure it's MCT. They tell you it's sometime within those 21 days, whatever, how long
Yeah,
MCT is.
and you know what? I did know then, now that you mention it, I didn't know before because I remember at MCT, the instructors were like just talking shit. Where all the pogues at? They fucking pogues. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck is a pogue? But I just remember them talking shit. Oh, where my hard dogs at? And they're like, oh, those are the O3s. Okay.
They're over there in
Fuck you
SOI.
guys. Like, whatever, man. I do remember that. No more weed for you.
No.
right.
I'm going to have more weed. But
We're,
hold on.
we're going to cut you off. I'm not cutting this out.
Let me just get it out. Hold on. Look, that was a good one. That's why.
Weekend.
Sorry, the distortion?
Yeah,
No.
we'll go with that.
Going back really quick to, so once you already knew you're going to be in, so what was your MOS? You stated.
I was O1. I was admin.
Oh, and what? Because there's a difference now because certain jobs aren't there anymore, so it does make it.
The 3 ones aren't there anymore.
Well, shit. It first started off, it was like, I want to say 01 11.
Okay.
and then it went to 0121,
That's right.
and then 0131,
I was unit diary.
and then
0151,
0151.
which was just admin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for all of them, like when they changed. They started off as like 0111, I want to say. When initially, that's what it says on my page 3.
Legal administration.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Legal administration, I think it was 51, I think. Or was it
No.
71?
Well,
I don't
under
fucking know.
the code, it does say legal administration for all of us because we were technically legal admins.
Yeah, we wrote it the page 12s and 11s.
That's right. No, yeah, that's right. All right.
So how do I remember that? I don't fucking know.
Do you remember your boot camp date
My boot camp date, September 7th.
when you went in?
1999, yeah.
Okay, September 7th, 1999.
Yeah.
Do you remember your drill instructors?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's crazy because I was talking about this. I don't know if you guys caught the conversation last week with my 2 buddies that I went to boot camp with.
I did. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so my platoon consisted of all sergeants, E5s.
Okay.
So my senior
Same.
drill instructor was Sergeant White, Sergeant Garcia, Sergeant Rodriguez, and Sergeant Mims. There was 4.
What battalion?
3rd Battalion,
3rd Battalion. What company?
Lima Company.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was my company.
yeah, hell yeah. So our platoon consisted of the 3 sergeants, and then one of them actually got selected to staff sergeant before the senior drill instructor did. So he ended up leaving our platoon, going to another platoon, and we picked up, we picked up one of the new fresh drill instructors straight out of school. That was another sergeant.
Oh, shit.
So then, during recruit training, then our senior drill instructor picked up staff sergeant. He brought back his old staff sergeant who picked up before him. So we had Staff Sergeant White, who was our senior, Staff Sergeant Garcia, Sergeant Rodriguez, Sergeant Mims, and then Sergeant Castellanos. So we had 5 drill instructors.
Wow.
So we were getting lit the fuck up.
Yeah, we chance to breathe.
Our ass was getting lit up. I just remember it was like you could not turn around, dude. With like, because like towards the end of boot camp too, it feels like it starts to ease up a little bit, right? No, with 5 drill instructors, like we were getting lit up all day. I just remember it was chaos all the time. I don't remember like a time where it was like easy until the actual like when we came back from Pendleton from shooting.
The last week.
And that was the only time where I can remember like it was a little bit more laid back.
Who was your senior drill instructor again?
Staff Sergeant White.
Staff Sergeant. Okay.
Yeah. And this dude was huge, man. He had like muscles on muscles. It was crazy. He was big. It was a big dude.
Dark green? Or I don't know if we're allowed to say you're dark green anymore, but
Nowadays, I don't know. That's a tough one. We got to talk about that one day.
Dark green.
Yeah. That yeah. I always mention that. Yeah.
Henry was in longer. What did that change? Because we've used it a couple of times.
They had brown, green, dark green.
I don't remember brown green.
They had brown green.
What?
Yeah,
that must have been after I got out.
No, they've always had that.
green.
I remember brown,
No,
green.
I don't think-
they had yellow, green.
What?
Yeah,
You're fucking bullshitting.
I'm
Shut
not.
up. They didn't
This
fucking
is all the stuff that
yellow
I've
green.
heard.
Did they use yellow green
pretty
of ours?
racist.
No,
I know.
No, this is all the stuff that I heard when I
This
was
is the
in
state
the
of the
Marine Corps.
podcast.
So I don't think that the terminology changed. I think that it got phased out.
Okay.
Because times changed.
Right.
So
So we
like,
stopped using dark green.
And it's don't ask, don't tell anymore either.
Honestly, I only heard dark green and like dark brown when I first joined. And then when I moved on to my second duty station in Hawaii, I never heard of it again. And then it just kind of disappeared. Certain terminologies like yut, it was considered like if you say, you ask me a question, right? Like ask me a question and it don't matter what it is. I'll be like, yut. It's kind of like a sarcastic response to it's acknowledging what you're asking me, which is like important in the first place. I need to acknowledge you if you're asking me a question, right? You have to acknowledge them by saying yes sir or no sir, right?
Yeah.
Well, somehow it came about to be that I'm just gonna acknowledge you, but I'm gonna do it my own way. Yeah, you guys probably don't know about
No,
that,
we would
right?
go by
So, yeah, see? So it went from like to yut, kill.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
so I'm acknowledging you. You can't say that I'm not acknowledging you because I'm giving you a verbal.
But you're doing it your own way,
acknowledgement.
like you said.
But I'm doing it sarcastically, like in a smart ass way. That's what I'm talking about, like how Marine Corps changed, like from terminology, dark green, dark brown. Like that was a term that everyone would use when we first came in, which eventually faded away, right? and then you just don't hear it no more. If you've talked to Vietnam vets right now, like, and you say something that's other than like, yes, sir, no, sir, good to go, sir, they're like, oh, you're fucking disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, we're not disrespectful. Times have changed. Marine Corps changed. Like, there's just different terminology now. It's not what they used to be back in Vietnam, like how you were.
Yeah, I follow this, I don't know, some kind of leatherneck page on Facebook, and you can see the older Marines, they sound off. They let you know. Then you see the younger Marines coming in, and I'm pretty sure that it went in way after us, and they're fucking just, okay, boomer.
Yeah, like my smart ass acknowledgement to somebody that would ask me like a stupid question, I'd be like, hey, yut. That's what I would do. And they'd be like, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm like, I just said yut. And they're like, so why couldn't you just fucking say that? Like, they would get mad.
Wow.
But my acknowledgement in a smart ass way was like, hey, yut. I'd be like that. And of course they'd get pissed off, you know? But it's the same thing. Like, you talk to a Vietnam vet and it's like, you say anything other than a yes sir, no sir, or good to go, sir. They're like, oh, well, back in my day, we didn't used to say that, you know?
Yeah.
And my response is like, well, it ain't back in your day anymore. Like, times have changed, just like I've changed, just like the Marine Corps changed. Get over it, you know? I try to hold everybody just to the standard, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're not willing to adjust and change with the times, you have a problem. Everything's going to change. It don't matter what it is. It's going to change. You have to understand that. And if you're not willing to adjust, which means you're not going to have an open mind about it, and things just got to be your way, you're going to have a hard time, like, trying to understand someone, you know?
But that's what's hard, because, like, you know, I'm about traditions, you know, about old school ways, about keeping certain things alive, you know, because for the sake of just remembering traditions, right? It's tough. It's really tough because there's a lot of stuff changing right now.
So I'm going to make a good point. It's going to be off on a little tangent just for a little
please
bit.
Go ahead.
Do it.
Proceed.
Speaking of traditions, I have this conversation with people quite often about traditions, you know. Hispanic, Mexican families traditionally are raised a certain way, right? Growing up, when I was younger, the men would be over here in the circle with the men playing cards, drinking, doing whatever they're doing, and the women would be inside or be in the kitchen. Like, do you think that would pass today? No, it wouldn't.
No.
Because times have changed, right?
I agree with that.
Traditionally, I'm not for that anyways. Like, I ain't got nothing to hide. If you're part of my family, I need you to be involved with everything and understand where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to separate you. I'm not trying to do things different. Those are one of the things that I talk about when it comes to traditions like that have changed, that some people still don't like the idea that, like, oh, women should be inside the house. Some people like the idea that women should be inside the house and men should be outside with the men.
All right? Yeah. Okay.
Me, it doesn't bother me. I really don't care. If you want to come hang out with us, come hang out with us, but just don't get offended by, like, my language or how I talk or how I act. As a man, I'm still going to joke how I joke as a man. That's one of those things where I was talking about tradition-wise, where, like, the Marine Corps has changed. Certain people haven't changed. They haven't opened up their mind to the differences of Marine Corps now and Marine Corps back then. Times are changing regardless. You have to have an open mind about things. You have to understand things
and that is
in
true.
a different direction.
That is definitely true. I agree with you 100% there. Being open-minded and not necessarily accepting to change, but just being able to receive it in a different way.
Right.
You know, because we're not going to accept everything. You know, there's certain things that are out there that we question. You know, I question, you know, like certain things that are out there. I still respect. I still show the love. I still try to follow certain things that, you know, not just Marine Corps values, but just traditional family values that we grew up with, you know, to treat everybody with respect and just not just people, but just as things change, be open-minded to the sake of being accepting to the change. I mean, that's the best way I think I could put it at this point. I'm going to go back really quick to boot camp. I know you mentioned when you went in, you mentioned your drill instructors. I know you were gung-ho about, you know, already getting ready to get started.
Gung-ho is a reference we have yet to use on the podcast until now.
And gung-ho is one of those terminology terms that are old school where nobody uses anymore.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah.
Prime example right there.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a prime example.
Perfect use of it.
So gung-ho, since you were already ready to go, did you have any specific challenges that you might have faced during that time in boot camp?
I think the only challenge really that I had in boot camp had to do with my height, honestly.
6'6".
Bro, some of those obstacles they don't cater to smaller guys, you know, or shorter guys. A prime example is the obstacle course, the Stairway to Heaven,
Oh yeah, the Stairway to Heaven.
log Stairway to Heaven.
That was a challenge.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you how I made it. I couldn't even tell you how I got over it. I couldn't tell you anything about it. Probably like blacked out since I was so scared. I'll be honest with you. I was so nervous and I was so scared because for the people that aren't aware of what the Stairway to Heaven is, it's a 2-story log, right? They're made out of logs.
It's a ladder.
It's a ladder. It's a ladder.
It's a ladder.
So it's a 2-story ladder
That
that
just goes
continues
straight
to
up.
go
Yeah.
that it goes straight up, but continues to get the spacing between each log grows more apart.
Yeah, progressively gets.
It progressively grows apart the higher that you get to the very top. So for the taller guys, it's not an issue. You just reach up and grab the log. But for the shorter guys, you actually have to jump up and grab the log because it continues to spread apart.
Yeah.
And so I remember looking at that log. There was no freaking net, guys. There's no net there to catch you. It's a 2-story log. If you drop, you just drop. And I remember like the guy ahead of me, in boot camp, we're based off numbers like 1 through 80 or something like that. And it goes by last name. The guy next to me just happened to be like a shorter guy like I was who was in front of me. And so he went ahead of me and completely like froze. And they had to call the ambulance.
Oh, he was one of those.
He was one of those guys.
No.
They had to call the fire department. They get the high ladder to get him down. And all I'm thinking the whole time is like, I'm next. And we're pretty much the same size. Oh shit, I'm in for a treat. I couldn't tell you how I did it. All I remember is I just did it. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I remember I blacked out. I remember like I was super scared because on top of that, I was scared of heights, but I just didn't give a shit. It was like, I'm gonna do it. Who cares? Like I'm scared. I'm gonna do it. That was one of the hugest. It was one of the biggest obstacles that I faced when it came to boot camp, and that was like overcoming heights. Just having to go through that 2-story Stairway to Heaven, that ladder. I just remember being so scared before I even went. Like I'm gonna freeze. I know I'm gonna freeze. And I remember like when I first started, just that split second, my famous words. I always think to myself, "Fuck it."
Fuck it.
And I just did it. And I was just like, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. Here I go. I'm going. I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can so I can get this shit over with. But I do remember like coming down, how far like my feet were off the log, where I had to like tippy toe, you know, like, and I would actually like have to jump down just a little bit. But somebody like Almanza here, you know, this guy's a big guy. He's over 6 foot. So he just happened to reach up and just pull himself up, you know?
Yeah, that was a pretty easy obstacle.
Yeah,
for me.
fucking whatever. Shut up. But yeah, I did that for sure was like one of my biggest obstacles I faced in boot camp was anything that came to like heights, because I know I had this little tiny window to just tell myself fuck it and just do it and just go through with it, and that was it. I grew up in a neighborhood where like we had to have this tough mentality and just like kind of fuck it mentality. Like we're struggling, fuck it, or we got to do this, fuck it, and that kind of stayed with me all through boot camp, because mentally I know I struggled sometimes too. I was just like anybody else. But my main focus at the time too, when I did struggle, was like, I'm not gonna go home a quitter. My family will never accept me if I come home a quitter. Fuck it, you know. I'm just gonna do it. Fuck it.
Amen.
Do you have any specific? I know we all get letters in boot camp and stuff, but were there any specific people that helped motivate you through that process, or anyone that you had in mind that were like, I'm gonna do this for this person? Or
no, I do, however, remember everyone that wrote me while I was in boot camp, because I remember thinking to myself, they took the time out of their day to write me. And at the time, like, there was no phones. That's all it was just writing. So for someone to take the time out of the day to write me letters, there's specific people to this day that I know off the top of my head that I can tell you who wrote me. I'll forever be grateful for that, because regardless of whether we're good now or not, they don't realize how much that helped me just through that time, that day, that one day only. And to get a letter like pretty often, even if it was from my mom, my dad, some of my friends from high school, I remember coming home and saying, hey man, how come you didn't write me? Oh man, I was busy. Bitch, I see you messing around. You ain't doing shit right now. You ain't got a job, you know? Like, how you gonna tell me you were busy? It meant that much more to me for the people that did write me, especially my dad. Like, I got a letter to this day, still on my phone, like, screenshot of the letter that my dad sent me. My dad's no longer with us, rest in peace, right?
Rest in peace.
But I still got a picture of my dad's letter that he wrote me in boot camp to this day. Like, hey, mijo, you know, I'm sorry. I know this letter's not going to be long, but same thing, you know. He went through the whole spiel. But for him to sit down and actually write me a letter, that was pretty special for me, because I know, first of all, my dad don't write letters. My dad's hardcore, or was hardcore. He's not going to take a time out of a day to sit down and write you a letter. But I do remember writing my mom and saying, hey, how come my dad hasn't wrote me yet? So that hit me a little bit harder when I got that letter. And that letter, honestly, probably lasted me for the rest of the time I'm in boot camp. Because I realized how difficult it was for my dad to sit down and take a pen to a piece of paper and like legit finish a letter and send it off to me. And he knew like afterwards how important that was to me. That legit did help me for the rest of my time in boot camp.
As it pushed you forward.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned your dad, his passed already, rest in peace. If you don't mind his name.
Yeah, his name's
memory,
same name, Henry Nevarez. I carried on the tradition. Come from a family of Henrys. My son, actually, he's the fifth. My great-grandfather, but, in Spanish, he was Enrique. Enrique, his son, Enrique, my grandfather. And then my dad, that's when they changed it over to English Henry. I'm the Henry, and then my son's a Henry. And even when my son was born, I didn't want to do that. I knew it's always been important to carry on a tradition and a name, right? Because it's kind of ingrained in us. We're old school, so that's kind of how we were brought up on how important it is to have that name. I didn't want my son feeling like he needs to be me. That's one thing about the tradition that I've always wanted to change is like old school parents have their kids, they want them to carry on what they've established, right? Carry on my legacy, carry on my tradition, carry on everything. I didn't want that for my son. I wanted my son to be his own person. Like, hey, you don't have to like what I like. I don't even care if you don't want to do anything that I want to do. If you do, I'm going to support you, but I want you to be your own person. And at the time, I did feel all the way up until he was born, no lie. I was like, nope, not naming him Henry. Absolutely not. Nope, not naming him Henry. When he came out, I was so emotional. Because I was everything, 1,000 thoughts going through my head. My dad's no longer here. I'm the last Henry. How's this name going to carry on? Everything that went through my head about my dad, like even bad things, kind of washed away. I only wanted to give my dad praise and like thanks for everything that he did for me and how he created such a hard young man, to push and like just be good, be a good guy.
Yeah.
The only way that I felt like I could do that is to give him thanks is like by naming my son and carrying that on. And my son loves his name. Dad, there's 5 of us? Yeah, there's 5 of us. He always asks. He doesn't feel like he was pushed into this legacy. I have to carry it on. Yeah. Why? I want to be this, Like I get it. Everyone wants their own path, their own identity. Everybody wants their own path in life, just like I did. That name meant that much more to me when my son came out and I realized that everything that I had worked for in life, everything that I have done to push myself and be so hard and try to be good at everything was because my dad has always been so hard on me to just do the best that I could and be the best. Even though we had our differences, like I realized everything, it's just like a snapback from like at that time in that moment to like back. Like, oh, why did my dad do this? Or why did my dad do that? Now I got it. It made sense. It clicked. The light bulb went on. And it's like, now I see and now I get it. Like why my dad was the way that he was with me. There's a reason why I'm good at what I'm pretty much almost everything that I do. And that's because of my dad and my mom. I gave my son that name, Henry.
That's beautiful.
I love it. I love it. I think you brought tears to both my Almanza's eyes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Please like and subscribe to our podcast. Find us on Instagram at Chat62Podcast. Email us at chat62podcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.